In 2025, the headlines didn't just tell stories, they shaped lives. They influenced how Nigerians spent, how they voted, and how they felt about the future. From hard political choices and deadly security failures to economic shifts felt at the kitchen table. From moments of grief that stopped the nation to victories that lifted spirits, 2025 demanded attention. Some events rewrote history. Others forced uncomfortable questions about leadership, safety, and direction. This was a year of decisions and consequences, of loss and resilience. And now, we take you through 2025, month by month. In January 2025, the year opened with tragedy. On January 18th, a fuel tanker exploded at Dikko Junction near Sileja, killing over 100 people as residents rushed to scoop spilled petrol. The incident reignited national outrage over road safety, fuel transport, and emergency response failures. Now, moving to March 2025, on March 6th, the Senate suspended Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for 6 months, sparking debate over legislative discipline and gender politics. Now, days later, on March 18th, President Bola Tinubu declared a state of emergency in Rivers State, suspending the governor, deputy governor, and lawmakers amid pipeline vandalism and political crisis. On March 28th, mob violence struck Uromi, Edo State, where about 16 travelers were killed after false accusations of kidnapping, a grim reminder of rising communal tensions. Now, in May, heavy rains triggered severe flooding across parts of Nigeria, displacing thousands, destroying farmlands, and worsening food insecurity already strained by inflation. Now, moving to the mid-year, it brought horror and policy shifts. Between June 13th and 14th, armed attackers killed over 100 people in Yelwata, Benue State, displacing thousands in one of the deadliest communal attacks of the year. On June 26th, Nigeria's most sweeping tax reforms in decades were signed into law, reshaping how government plans to raise revenue. Just days later, the nation lost a business titan, Alhaji Aminu Ntata, who died at the age of 94, closing a major chapter in northern Nigeria's commercial history. Now, moving on to July. On July 13th, former President Muhammadu Buhari died in London at 82, drawing tributes and reflection on his legacy. Moving on to sports, there was reason to cheer. On July 26th, the Super Falcons lifted the WAFCON trophy, completing a dramatic 3-2 comeback win over Morocco. In August, on the 19th, gunmen attacked a mosque in Katsina State during dawn prayers, killing dozens and forcing residents to flee. In October, on the 24th, President Tinubu sacked the service chief, signaling a major reset of Nigeria's security strategy amid rising violence. Moving on to November, it was heavy. On November 2nd, United States President Donald Trump criticized Nigeria and warned of possible action over violence against Christians, sparking diplomatic tension. On November 17th, gunmen attacked a school in Kebbi State, killing a vice principal and abducting female students. On November 20th, a federal court sentenced Nnamdi Kanu to life imprisonment on terrorism-related charges. Now, just days later, over 300 students and teachers were abducted from St. Mary's School in Niger State. By November 26, the president declared a nationwide security emergency, ordering mass recruitment into the police and military. On November 27th, Nigeria lost a revered Islamic scholar, Sheikh Bahiru Usman Bauchi, at the age of 98, drawing mourners from across the country. Moving on to the last month of the year, December brought diplomacy, controversy, and unfinished business. On December 8th, 11 Nigerian military personnel were briefly held in Burkina Faso following an airspace incident involving a Nigerian Air Force aircraft. On December 15th, Aliko Dangote escalated a public dispute with oil regulators, leading to high-profile resignations days later. Moving forward, on December 17th, President Tinubu proposed a budget reset aiming to clean up overlapping fiscal years ahead of 2026. Now, the year closed under the shadow of controversy as lawmakers allege alterations to the new tax laws, prompting calls for suspension ahead of their January 2026 rollout. Now, as 2025 draws to a close, it leaves behind a year that tested institutions, strained communities, and reshaped conversations. Some stories divided us, others united us. Many forced Nigerians to pause and ask hard questions about the future. But beyond the headlines, 2025 was about people, their losses, their resilience, and their hopes. And as the calendar turns, those stories don't end here. They move with us into the year ahead.